Title suggestion: Why your strategy is failing. According to the 3,000-year-old oracle, you are standing on the precipice of a decision that will define the next 5 years of your life. Your spreadsheets are full. Your advisors have spoken. Your data is perfect. And yet, in the pit of your stomach, there is a cold, heavy stone of uncertainty. You feel that despite all your intelligence, you are missing the most critical variable of all. 3,000 years ago, a king sat in a damp stone prison, facing his own execution. He didn't have data. He didn't have a consulting firm. He had a set of broken and unbroken lines. He realized something that modern CEOs and generals are only now beginning to rediscover: that the world is not a series of static problems to be solved, but a river of constant, predictable change. You are about to make the exact decision your competitors are hoping you make, because you are calculating based on how the world is right now. The I Ching, the oldest book in existence, was written to show you how the world will be tomorrow. Did you know that Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, refused to write the foreword to the English translation of this text until he had consulted it himself to see if it was ready to be introduced to the West? He spent months testing its logic against his most difficult cases. He found that it didn't just predict events, it mapped the very architecture of human timing. The year is approximately 1050 BC. The Shang dynasty, once glorious, has curdled into decadence and cruelty. King Wen of the Zhou state has been imprisoned by the tyrant Dxin. In the silence of his cell, King Wen does not plot revenge. He observes. He observes the way the moss grows on the north side of the stone. He observes the way the guard's shadows lengthen and shorten. He realizes that everything in existence, from the fall of an empire to the ripple in a pond, follows 64 distinct patterns of transformation. He organizes these patterns into the I Ching, the Book of Changes. This was not a book of fortune-telling for the superstitious. It was a manual for the strategist. It was the first system of binary logic, long before Leibniz used its hexagrams to develop the foundation of modern computing. Think of the stakes. King Wen was not just writing philosophy. He was preparing his son, King Wu, to overthrow the most powerful military force on Earth. The I Ching was the software for the Zhou Revolution. It taught them when to wait in the tall grass and when to strike like lightning. Today, we live in what we call a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. We act as if this is new. It is not. The oracle's wisdom is simply the recognition that the noise of the modern world is actually a melody we've forgotten how to hear. When a company like Nokia collapses while a company like Netflix thrives, it isn't just about technology. It is about their alignment with the Tao, the inevitable flow of change. One fought the current, the other became the water. The ancient sage does not seek to control the future. The sage seeks to be so deeply in tune with the present that the future becomes obvious. Ask yourself, in the last year, how many times did you push for a result that refused to come, only to have a better opportunity fall into your lap the moment you stopped forcing it? This isn't luck. It's the law of hexagram 11 and 12. And if you don't understand the difference, you are fighting a war against reality itself, a war you will lose. Let us enter the core teachings. Listen not with your intellect, which seeks to categorize, but with your intuition, which seeks to recognize. The first teaching concerns the most difficult discipline of all, the discipline of the hidden. The I Ching begins with hexagram 1, the creative, but it does not start with action. The first line of the first hexagram says, "Hidden dragon, do not act." What does this actually mean? In our culture of hustle and first-mover advantage, we are told that to be silent is to be stagnant. To be hidden is to be failing. The I Ching says the opposite. It says that every great power begins in a state of potential that must be protected from the light. If you reveal your dragon too early, the world will kill it before it has scales. Consider the return of Steve Jobs to Apple in 1997. When he returned, Apple was weeks away from bankruptcy. The market demanded a new product immediately. They wanted a splash. What did Jobs do? He went hidden. He slashed the product line from 350 items to 10. He went silent. He spent years in the lab, submerged, developing the iMac and the OS X. He did not act in the way the critics wanted. He waited until the dragon was fully formed. The actionable principle is this: power is most effective when it is gathered in secret and released only when the environment is perfectly primed to receive it. Did you know that the most successful overnight startups have an average hidden period of 3.4 years before their first public traction? The hidden dragon is not a suggestion. It is a biological necessity. Our second teaching takes us into the heart of fear. Hexagram 29, the abysmal, or, more accurately, water. The text says, water flows on uninterruptedly and reaches its goal. It stays true to its nature. It does not shrink from any dangerous spot. Decode this. Most people, when they encounter a danger spot, a market crash, a personal betrayal, a failed project, they freeze. They try to climb out of the abyss. But water does not try to climb. Water fills the abyss until the abyss is no longer a hole, but a path. Water succeeds because it is soft enough to adapt to the shape of the danger, but hard enough to eventually wear down the stone. Look at SpaceX in its early days. 3 consecutive failures. Most logical leaders would have pivoted or quit. But Elon Musk followed the nature of water. He didn't try to avoid the failures. He filled them with data. He moved through the danger by staying true to the nature of the mission. He didn't fight the abyss of gravity. He learned its exact shape until he could flow through it. The actionable principle: when you are in a crisis, stop trying to escape it. Instead, become the water that fills the crisis until it becomes the bridge to your next level. Question: if you were stripped of your title, your bank account, and your current strategy tomorrow, what is the water of your character that would remain? That is your only true competitive advantage. The third teaching is perhaps the most painful for the successful to hear. It is the lesson of hexagram 11, peace, transitioning into hexagram 12, standstill. The I Ching says, in the midst of peace, there is always the seed of standstill. The great departs, the small approaches. This is the oracle's warning to the winners. When everything is going right, when your revenue is up, your relationships are smooth, and the sun is at its zenith, that is exactly when the small, the petty, the lazy, the arrogant begins to creep in. Standstill does not arrive with a bang. It arrives as a departure of the great. High standards begin to slip. Innovation becomes process. Vision becomes maintenance. Think of the blue-chip companies of the 1990s. General Electric. Under Jack Welch, it was peace. It was the most valuable company in the world. But in that peace, the great innovation and long-term thinking began to depart, and the small, financial engineering and short-term quarterly gains approached. By the time the world realized GE was in standstill, the decay was already structural. The actionable principle: the moment you believe you have arrived is the moment you have begun to leave. Success requires a more rigorous audit of the small than failure does. Statistical fact: the average lifespan of an S&P 500 company has dropped from 60 years in the 1950s to less than 20 years today. Why? Because standstill is moving faster than ever. Our final core teaching comes from the very end of the I Ching. Hexagram 63, after completion. It is counterintuitive. You would think the book ends with success, but it ends with a warning. The text says, at the beginning, good fortune. At the end, disorder. Imagine a man who has just finished a long journey. He crosses the final river. He is tired. He lets down his guard. He thinks, I am finished. In that exact moment, He trips on a stone and drowns in 6 inches of water. This is the mission accomplished trap. When a project is done, our human tendency is to exhale. The I Ching says that the moment a cycle completes, a new, more dangerous cycle begins immediately. If you do not transition your mind from the finisher to the beginner, the second the goal is reached, you will be destroyed by the momentum of your own success. Modern example, the Netflix pivot. Reed Hastings had completed the DVD by mail business. He had won. He could have rested. But he knew hexagram 63. He knew that, after completion, comes disorder for those who don't move. He cannibalized his own successful business to start streaming before the world was even ready for it. He didn't wait for the disorder to find him. He became the beginner again. The actionable principle. Completion is an illusion. Every end is simply the high-risk transition phase of the next beginning. You are watching this because you want more than wisdom. You want a result. The oracle does not give advice to be pondered. It gives instructions to be lived. Here are the 3 things you must do this week to align your life with the Book of Changes. First, conduct a hidden dragon audit. Look at your current projects. Identify the one that is most precious to you, your dragon. Now, look at how much you are talking about it. Are you posting about it on social media? Are you seeking validation from friends before the work is done? This week, go silent on your most important goal. Stop the leakage of energy that comes from talking. If you cannot keep your dragon hidden for 7 days, you do not have the discipline to lead it when it grows up. Name the one person you will stop updating. Silence is the incubator of power. Second, practice the water fill in your most frustrated area. Think of the abyss in your life right now. The person who won't listen. The deal that is stuck. The habit you can't break. Stop trying to smash through the obstacle. This week, try to fill the space around it. If a person is being difficult, stop arguing and start observing. Understand their shape. What are they afraid of? What do they need? Like water, adapt your communication to their vessel. If a project is stuck, stop forcing the next big step and start completing the tiny, boring tasks that surround it. Fill the abyss until the path becomes level. Third, apply the rule of 63 to your latest win. Take the thing you are most proud of from the last month. The completion. Now, ask yourself, where is the disorder already starting? Look for the small things you've started to ignore because you feel successful. Are you checking your numbers less often? Are you being less present in meetings? This week, find one small thing in your area of success and treat it with the intensity of a life or death crisis. If you are a salesperson who just hit your quota, treat your next cold call like it's the first one you've ever made. Kill the arrogance of completion before it kills you. The oracle is not in the book. The oracle is in the mirror. These 3 actions are not tips. They are tests of your alignment with reality. If you find them difficult, it is because you are still trying to rule the world rather than flow with it. The great strategist Sun Tzu, who lived centuries after King One, said, "The general who wins a battle makes many calculations in his temple ere the battle is fought." We began this journey talking about the decision that is weighing on you. The spreadsheets, the advisors, the data. You now realize why those tools haven't eased your mind. They are tools for a world that is static. But the world you live in is a river. The stone in your stomach is not fear. It is your intuition telling you that you are trying to act when the dragon should be hidden. Or you are trying to fight when you should be water. Or you are resting when the disorder is already at your gate. The I Ching does not tell you what will happen. It tells you who you must be for what is happening to work in your favor. King Wen survived the prison because he didn't just read the lines. He became the lines. He saw that the standstill of his imprisonment was the hidden phase of his empire. If you do not learn to read the patterns of your own life, you will forever be a victim of circumstances. But if you master the oracle's wisdom, there are no circumstances. There is only the Tao. There is only the way. In our next episode, we will go deeper into the specific military applications of the I Ching that allowed a smaller force to dismantle the greatest army in the East. You will not want to miss the lesson on the hexagram of the army. If you found this useful, there is a link in the description to a modern translation of the I Ching that I recommend. Most will watch this and return to their spreadsheets. They will continue to wonder why their perfect plans keep failing. But you know better now. You know that the only constant is change. The dragon is hidden. The water is flowing. Don't just watch the change. Become it.